Good afternoon. Welcome to the Unto Theolore Ministries channel. Please subscribe, like, and share. Please consider contributing to the ministry, for our primary ministry is to help the ones in jail or in nursing home. And when we go to those local jails and nursing homes, we need Bibles and other printings to hand out to these that are so often overlooked. Please help us reach these needed souls. Links to PayPal and Patreon are in the video description. We are also looking to partner with a few Christian businesses as an affiliate. Look into the video description for hyperlinks. Thank you.
Hello again. Hello again. Okay, this is my video number 2. And this will probably be one of the longer ones. So please bear with me. There is a lot of information to then have to go through, but when it comes to talking about the Antichrist, it is a lot to then cover. I am hoping that you have had a great day, and I hope that you learn a few things during this it is of this video. Let us begin by stating that Isaiah 28:10, for a precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line. Here a little, there a little. What this is basically saying is that within some situations, we have to pull pieces throughout the scriptures to then bring it together so that we can understand. And when it comes to the identity of who is the Antichrist, we have got well over 60 clues. 60 clues to who is the Antichrist. Now that is a lot of numbers. There are not a lot of numbers, but a lot of clues. Not all of them is in Revelation. Not all of them is in Daniel 7. There is also clues in Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and even between Acts and Jude. But most of the clues and the important clues are found in Daniel 7, Revelation 13, and Revelation 17 are the important clues. Why is this? These clues found within these 3 chapters can pinpoint who the Antichrist is. All of the other clues just verifies. It just verifies who the Antichrist really is. There was a mathematician that have done the calculations to see what are the odds of one person matching only 15 clues. Well, he have come up with 1 in 27 octillion. That is 27 zeros behind 27. We are currently at about 9 billion in population right now. And there are some of the historians that proclaims that to then find the total number of humans that have ever lived on Earth, just just actually basically multiply the current number by 2. So then that would be 18 billion, according to their theory. That might be a somewhat adequate way to then calculate, but we really don't know. We just really don't know how many people that have ever lived on Earth. And so while that may be accurate, I am going to give that of the benefit of the doubt and say 25 billion. Okay? I have got no reasons for that number. I'm just going to say 25 billion. Even at 25 billion from the time of, it is of Genesis 1, the 6th day, all the way to the current. Do we really know how many people? We can only guess. But 25 billion as compared to 27 octillion, that is still several zeros away. Let's see here. Billion is 100,000 million billion. 12 zeros. No, wait a minute. It would be 9 zeros behind the 9 billion. And we are talking about 27 zeros to then reach that of the 27 billion alleged odds. And I'm sure that he is somewhat accurate. But still, that is quite a number if only 15 matches 1. But here's the thing. Currently speaking, more than 55 matches 1. Uh-oh. And there is a lot of clues that also matches his false prophet. That is one thing that a lot of people doesn't understand. That of the Antichrist also has a false prophet. So, 27 octillion. Wouldn't it be great if I could, or if not I, but that of the Bible can basically narrow the current, or my current estimate of 25 billion people that have ever lived on the earth down to only 1. That would be great, wouldn't it? So, let's first take a look at the key clues. Daniel 7 verses 7 and 8 talks about 10 horns, iron teeth, brass nails. There is that of a 11th horn that grows up among the 10, but that horn is actually mentioned separately from the 10. So then keep that in mind. It is mentioned separately. It is also a diverse, exceedingly dreadful. It is obviously devours, speak great things, war with the saints, will then reign for 3.5 times, which is actually stated in the book of Daniel. Time times and a half a time. A time is a year, and a times is 2 years, but don't think of the 365 days a year that we are on the calendar as we speak. It is speaking of that of the Jewish year, which is 360 days. Okay. However, Numbers 14:34 tells us how to then read that part. For a day is a year. Okay? And then there is people that worships the beast. Revelation 13, verses 1 through 8. It has 10 horns, crowns on the 10 horns. It is like a leopard, mouth of a lion, feet of a bear, and name of it is of a blasphemy. One of the heads then receives a mortal wound, which is important. Spake great things and of blasphemy 42 months, which is also the same as 3.5 years. War with the saints, power over all nations, and that of the beast is worshipped. Revelation 17:1 speaks of a whore sitting on the beast. It is of the scarlet and purple, gold and precious stones, a gold cup, and it is of abominations. It also has 10 horns, name of blasphemy. It is also worshipped, drunk with the blood of the saints, and it sits on many waters. It commits fornication. Now here is something that we may need to discuss. That of the thing that John says is on her forehead. Within the King James Bible, it has that all capital letters. When I looked at the original Greek, it's not all capital letters. That of the 54 King James, it is of the translators in the early 1600s felt it was important to put it in all caps. But in the Greek, it is not all capitals. Do not make a big deal out of it being in all capitals because it's not in the original Greek as all capital. Now, between Daniel 7, Revelation 13, and Revelation 17, what is common? All three have 10 horns. All three is worshipped. All three was either made war with the saints or is drunk with the blood of the saints. Okay? Now, with that being said, do you think that all three are speaking of the same seven-headed beast? Yeah. When I see a black cat with a white spot on the forehead and a roaming around my apartment complex, and then someone 4 or 5 blocks away sees a black cat with a white dot on the forehead, do you think it is of the same cat? Yeah, very likely. But if I see a calico cat over here, and then someone 4 or 5 blocks away sees also that of a calico cat, is that the same calico cat? We don't really know. So, with the 7 heads and 10 horns, that that it have waged war with the saints, we would think it is the same beast. Here is also something else to look at. Between Daniel 7 and Revelation 13, they are both, it is a lesser diverse. Okay? And then basically between Revelation 13 and Revelation 17, they have power over many nations. That of Revelation 13 speaks that it has power over all nations. In Revelation 17, it speaks of it is of lesser waters, at which when you look at it at a prophecy standpoint, it is over all nations. Okay, so Daniel 7, it states it has iron teeth and brass nails, and it talks about the 11th horn. That is not spoken of in Revelation 13 and Revelation 17. Revelation 17 says that this beast has crowns on 10 horns. It then suffers a mortal wound. Okay? Revelation 17 talks about the whore, and that that of the beast does fornication. And so we then get a clearer picture when we combine these 3 passages. From Daniel 7 to Revelation 13 and Revelation 17, we get a clearer picture of some of the things about this beast. One thing to then point out is that Daniel 7 verses 7 and 8 speaks of a 11th horn growing up among the 10. Revelation 13 doesn't speak of this 11th horn, and Revelation 17 speaks of the whore. Now, this is important. Daniel 7 is speaking of the future when it comes to this a 11th horn. Revelation 13 is speaking about it is being in process of being, it is developed. Revelation 17 speaks of the whore. The whore is the same as the 11th horn. Now, many people tries to go outside of the Bible to try to figure out what all this means, whenever all that they've got to do is go to Revelation 17. Let me get there. Revelation 17. Come on, there we go. Here is starting at verse number 9. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains, on which the woman sitteth. And there are 7 kings, talking about the heads, still, okay, which is added to which that is telling us that the heads has got 2 different meanings. One is that it is 7 mountains in which the whore sits. Then it then speaks of 7 kings. 5 are fallen, 1 is, and the others not yet come, at which means that added to which by the time Revelation 17 is then shown to John, it is during the 6th king. Now, this is important here to then understand why we are talking about 42 months or 3.5 years, which would be 1260 years whenever you then do the proper math. Added of a Hebrew year is 360 times and a half a time, or 42 months is 1260 days. Those days, whenever we then look at Numbers 14:34 and then a few other verses, that a day is a year, we are then looking at 1260 years. Now, one person cannot live that long. Maybe a person could live that long before the flood, but not after. And that's a strong maybe. But here is the thing. This then tells us that the whore is a kingdom. And that there are 6 kings after the mortal wound have occurred. Well, actually 7. Okay. So then let's get back to verse 10, 17 verse 10. And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the others not yet to come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th of the 7, and goes into perdition. So even after the 7th king, there is 1 more king. Okay, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings which have received no kingdom as of yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. I'm not going to say nothing here yet about that, but let's get through this, and then basically we will go back through it a piece at a time. These have 1 mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they shall are with him are called and chosen and faithful. Let's see here. And he said unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the whore sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire. For God hath put in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom. Okay. Unto the beast, until the words of God shall be fulfilled. Verse 18. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. Okay, we get to understand many of the characteristics of this seven-headed beast. Now then, let's go back. Verse 9. Let's take this a little bit slowly here. And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth. Okay, verse 18 says, and the woman which thou sawest is that great city. Okay. I have done that of a Google search, and there are 72 cities on earth that is surrounded by 7 hills or mountains. So how can we determine which one of the 72 cities is the one which is being mentioned here? Well, there was only one known at the time by John when he wrote the book of Revelation, and that is Rome. More accurately, what is now called as the Irresolute Vatican City. Oh, I'm going to have to pause for a second so I can clear my throat. Hold on a second. Oh, wow. Okay, I can't pause. I will have to come back after a couple minutes. Back to what we was talking about. The 7 mountains. Only John knew of at the time only one city sitting on 7 mountains, and that is what is now called as it is a Vatican City. But let's say, just for example, it isn't the it is a Vatican, it must be something else. Let's go on. And there are, okay, that will not cover about the Vatican City. Let's get to and verse 15, and he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongue. Okay. The whore. What is she? She is a woman, as we look back up into, let's see here, where is it? Yeah, Revelation 17. in verse 4, it is of lesser, the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color. What did Christ call his church? A bride. What is a bride? It is a woman dressed in white. If Christ's church is a woman dressed in white, and we see here in verse 4 that there is a woman dressed in other colors, what would you think that is? It's a false church. Okay, let's just drop the false part of it for now. But when we look at the other 71 cities that is surrounded by 7 hills or mountains, there is none of them that is the headquarters of a worldwide church. Only in Rome, the Vatican, is a worldwide church, and it is surrounded by 7 mountains. Think about that for a second. There is only one out of the 72 that is the headquarters of a church. Okay, let's just get something covered here. A church does not always necessarily have to be a Christian church. The Church of Satan is one fine example. It doesn't have to be Christian in order for it to be a church. And in this case, we are looking at a false church. And as I have mentioned earlier about the all caps, here it is in verse 5. And upon her forehead was a name written, and in all caps, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots, and it is of lesser abominations of the earth. Now, as I did the research, in the Greek, it's not all capital. Wait a minute, let me rephrase that. There is no differentiation between the all caps mother we find here, and in anywhere else in the New Testament it says mother. The Greek is the exact same. There is no difference between this mother or even earth or great or any other word you are wanting to do research on. There is no difference between this all capitalized statement and anywhere else it's found in the New Testament. They are the exact same Greek word, spelled exactly the same way with the exact same letters. Now then, within America, there is a small a and a capital A. We can see where at a person uses small a and a person uses a large a. It is still an A, but there is a difference between the two. Not here. And so, therefore, the 54 scholars of the early 16th century decided to put it in all caps. Do not make a big deal out of something that just isn't there. Now, to then go back, I think that we have then established who of, I think we have established that of the woman. Um, let's see here, verse 9. Okay, verse 10. It says that there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, one is, and the other is not yet come, and when he cometh he must continue a short space. Now, that we think the Roman Catholic Church is the beast, we have to determine what is going on here. Now, where did it say? That one of the heads it is of us wounded. The purple fornication. Okay. Boy, I am just not seeing it here, but I am probably going to come across it soon. But it is of one of these. Oh yeah, it is actually found in Revelation 13. Okay. That there is of a mortal wound on one of the heads, and it was healed. So, when we look at the history of the Catholic Church, we find in 1798, Emperor Napoleon sent General Berthier to then capture the Pope and take him to France. There is where he was executed. Several years later, that of France gave back. It is of the Vatican back to the Catholic Church. Therefore, a long time there was no official head of the Catholic Church. It was in what would be considered as it is of a disarray, and during all this time, the Catholic Church lost its power, and we only have to look to the history books to then show that it was the Catholic Church that was in charge of the Inquisitions, was the ones that have caused the Dark Ages. Probably a few million people were murdered by the Catholic Church because they refused to join the Catholic Church. 3 kingdoms were totally annihilated. By 538 AD, were totally annihilated because they refused to join the Catholic Church. The Heruli, the Ostrogoths, and the Vandals. Those are the three kingdoms that were annihilated Not a man, woman, child, or animal survived the attack that the Catholic Church, the Pope, ordered on those kingdoms. Did Jesus ever say to then fight people and murder them until they become a part of the church? Well, let me point to a scripture. Let me find it real fast. We are talking about, let's see here. Oh, come on. Okay, in Luke chapter 9. Let me get to it in my, it is of that, it is of the Bible I have here on my computer. Luke chapter 9, starting in verse 51, going all the way through 56. This was when Jesus was heading towards Jerusalem so he could be sacrificed. And he have sent out messengers 2 by 2 in all these little towns. Well, let's see here. James and John comes back and says that this town refuses to then receive you. Shall we call fire from heaven and to then come down and consume them? What did Jesus say? He have then rebuked them and said, Ye know not what it is of the manner of spirit ye are of. For the Son of Man is not come to destroy men's lives, but to save them. Not to destroy, but to save. Yet the Catholic Church, not only did they destroy 3 kingdoms, they have destroyed individual lives because people would not join the Catholic Church. They have murdered people over false accusations. Wow. That is horrible. So, here we find the drunk with the blood of the saints. Now, let's get one straight here before we move on. What must you do to then become a saint? What must you do to then become a saint? Well, according to the Catholic Church, there is a list of requirements. And this can only be obtained only after you die and only after, usually, some couple of 100 years have passed. A few people recently have been sainted almost immediately after their death. Pope John Paul II and it is of Sister it is of Sister Teresa. But according to the Catholic Church, you have to be dead. But Paul wrote to a church and called them saints. Okay, wait a minute. Paul called a church that was still alive saints. The whole church. And what did they do? They have believed and was baptized. See, when you believe and is baptized, you become a saint. There is a friend of mine that on her email has a quote wait a minute, let me call it up so that I can actually quote it, quote it directly. Okay. Let's see here. For a saint is just a sinner who fell down and got back up, or got up. Okay, so yes, we are Christians and sometimes we fall. If we fall and choose not to get back up, then we are choosing to then lose our salvation by our own choice. But when we get back up and try again, over and over and over again, we are still Christians. Hopefully, like it was when we all first learn how to walk, if at all we then bump our butts on the floor enough times, maybe we will learn to walk the straight line. That is, I have figured that I would just point that little tidbit out. Now, back to Revelation 17. Okay. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is the Lord of lords and King of kings. Now, this also fits the Catholic Church. What did the Catholic Church do during the Dark Ages? They restricted the Bible to only the priest. Anybody caught with a copy of any part of the Bible was to be burned at the stake along with that copy of the Scripture. Anybody refusing to join the Catholic Church were to be burned at the stake, tortured, whatever, murdered. I will be doing that of a video on also my opinion. Whoops. On when that of the true it is a Protestant actually occurred and what that really means. Someone on Facebook that I was chatting with just a couple of days ago just could not understand what the term Protestant meant. Whenever he talked, he said that he is not a Protestant, he is a Baptist. And so I said, okay, so then basically you then agree with the Catholic Church. Oh, no, I do not agree with the Catholic Church. Well, then you are a Protestant. No, I'm not a Protestant. I am a Baptist. Whatever. that of the term it is of lesser Protestant came about saying that we protest against the Catholic Church. It has nothing to do if you are a Baptist or a Church of Christ or Seventh-day Adventist or anything else. If you do not agree with the Catholic Church, you are a Protestant. Period. Because you protest. But getting back to it, that of the Catholic Church pretty well overcame the saints for a while because they had to go underground. They could not worship openly like we can now. They had to worship underground, and many of them died because they refused to be a part of the Catholic Church. It is now then that of it is of lesser waters, in which she sits on, are people and multitudes and nations and tongues. There was for at least 1260 years, the Catholic Church ruled over the known world. There was no king that could do or say anything without first getting consult from that of the local representation of the Pope, and he must get the authority from the Pope. That of the kings could not operate independently like they can for now, because there's going to be a time where the Catholic Church will be fully in charge again. The book of Revelation tells us that it will happen again that way, and it will be soon. So, the 10 horns which thou sawest, it is, like I was saying, it was 10 kingdoms from that was from about the time of 325 to what was it? Darn, what was it again? Okay, let me hook it up. I am trying to do this by it is of some memory here. Okay. Is that right? Oops. Okay. From about 311 to 538. Well, starting at about 311, there was 10 known kingdoms. Rome was one of them. And then between that time and 538, 3 kingdoms fell, like it is listed. Daniel 7 says that 3 of the 10 horns was plucked up by its roots. What that means, when it says plucked up by its roots, it is talking about that every man, woman, child, and animal is utterly murdered. There is no trace of them, period. And like I said earlier, they were the Hurlei, the Ostrogoths, and that of the Vandals. They were the three kingdoms that were utterly wiped out. That of the other kingdoms, that was actually that of the other kingdoms that was in opposition of the Catholic Church have basically decided, we give. Okay, you win. We give. And so and so then, although it have started with 10 horns or 10 kingdoms, it have went down to 7, and even then it have basically went down to 1 kingdom, since the Pope had ultimate authority over all of the kings and kingdoms. They couldn't do a thing without first consulting the local representative of the Pope. Wow. Okay, and so then, see, just only a few clues. We see that it is answered in the book of Revelation, chapter 17. If we just read our Bible, we can understand what these clues mean. When we read our Bible, we also understand what it is. Daniel 7 talks about whenever he says that the beast will seek to change times and laws. Okay, that of the current calendar we live under is called it is of a Gregorian calendar. Guess who came up with this calendar? Pope Gregory. Thus, that's why it's called that of the Gregorian calendar. And laws, you should see the Catholic 10 Commandments. The second commandment, thou shalt not have any engraven images, is taken out. It is not available in the Catholic 10 Commandments. Therefore, the third becomes the second, and all of them slides up one, and the tenth one is split into 2. That is the Catholic Church version of the 10 Commandments, which is not the exact same as what is found in Exodus 20 and Deuteronomy 5. Did the Catholic Church change times and law? Yes, they did. Now then to cover the mortal wound. Just only briefly here. Okay, I'm going to cover the mortal wound only briefly. Like I have mentioned earlier, in 1798, it is of a General Berthier marched into Rome, captured the Pope, and then he was there shortly after executed. That is the mortal wound. And it was healed. There is still a Catholic Church today. We are currently living under the 8th Pope since the mortal wound. The end is near, my friends. The end is very near. Since we are living under the 8th Pope, the end is very near. Now then, we can now also take a look at what is the most popular item to then view, and that is, for let him have the wisdom, let him count the number of his name, and the sum of his name will be 666. Okay, it says count the number of his name. What is a name? Well, my name, it is Richard Lee. I am also called as Pastor Richard. Okay. A king will have his birth name, and then when he becomes king, he is known as King such and such. Elvis Presley was also called the King of Rock and Roll. Whenever I say the King of Rock and Roll, we automatically think Elvis Presley. Whenever I say it is of the Prince of Pop, who am I talking about? Michael Jackson. So a name isn't only what is on the birth certificate. It is also a title. The Pope, apparently on his Triple Crown tiara, states Vicarius Filii Dei. Now, since we can't really get to it, it is only speculation. It is only speculation. However, there has been many times that a Catholic priest would call him the Vicar of Christ. Okay? Vicarius Filii Dei, partially translated, is the Vicar of Christ. Fully translated is the substitute of Christ. Wait a minute. Didn't Jesus say, I am the way, the truth, and the life? Nobody comes to the Father except through me. Why is the Pope proclaiming to be the Vicar of Christ? In the so-called, it is of lesser donation of Constantine, the Pope in that is called the Vicarius Filii Dei. In that document that many people says is a false document. Here is what I say about that false document. For one thing, if it is false, the Catholic Church wrote it, and the Catholic Church called the Pope the Vicarius Filii Dei. Therefore, that is a proven statement that the Pope is called Vicarius Filii Dei. Secondly, okay, well, it might be a false document, but what Emperor Constantine did, it is a level validates what that document said. What did Emperor Constantine? He left Rome and created a new capital, what was then called Constantinople. And he left that of a legion of soldiers for the Pope to command. So, even though the alleged document known as the Donation of Constantine is a fake, what Constantine did makes it a valid document. When action speaks louder than words, Emperor Constantine spoke very loud when he did what he did in the early to mid 4th century. So, let's just keep it fair that of the since that of the Catholic Church was established in 311 AD and was in Rome and therefore was their capital, Rome. Let's use the Roman numerals, and when we spell out Vicarious Filii Dei, keeping in mind the U and the V both have the value of 5. Anything that is not within the Roman numeral system, like I think S does not have a value, it is then a value of 0. Okay, when we add that up, guess what it adds up to be? 603 or 666. About 5 other titles the Pope has all also adds up to 666. Not only that of the title of Vicarious Filii Dei, but let's see here. One of them, it is of lesser translated, is that of the Latin-speaking man. Whenever you look at the Latin of the phrase, it also equals up to 666. There's like 4 or 5 other titles the Pope has. They all add up to 666. All these clues adds up to that of it is of the Vatican, the Roman Church, as being the Antichrist. Now, let me say this. I was a Catholic church. I was a Catholic for about 10 years. And, well, when I learned what and who the Antichrist was, I got out of it. Now, it was not an easy, okay, I'll change. Pastor Green had that of a 21-day or 21-night workshop on that of the Antichrist. And I have the notebook probably in the other room of all the notes. The second night, he have then said who this beast is. And, well, I got mad. How dare you say the Catholic Church is the beast in Revelation? Although, actually, I didn't say that to his face. I went home and I studied, even though that of the shops was anywhere between 2 and 3 hours a night. When I got home, I have done even more study of 2 to 5 more hours a night, trying to find out where he is wrong. He must be wrong. He was not wrong. He was not wrong. And by the 17th night, I have then wrote a letter to the Catholic Church, saying that basically that I am then becoming that of an apostate against the Catholic Church. Take me off of your mailing list. Over a year later, I was still getting mail from them. I had to go through the BBB to then get them to stop mailing me stuff. That is when you know that you are in a cult. When it is nearly impossible to leave that church, you are in a cult. Friends, I know what it is to then be a Catholic. I was a Catholic. But friends, it is time for you to come out of her, my people, as what Christ says in the book of Revelation, to come out of her, my people, Christ says, so that you do not participate in the wrath in which he has pre-set up for her to take. See, right now it is not too late, because you haven't accepted the mark. What is the mark? It is basically saying that you cannot buy, sell, or do anything without the mark. Some people think that it is that of the Visa card, because the V and I is a 6, the S in, I think it is Germany, is a 6, and cutting off a part of the top of the A makes that of it is a Chinese 6. Okay, we are using 3 different languages, but the key to it in the verse says, and the sum of his name. Sum. What are you doing? You're adding. So 6 plus 6 plus 6 is only 18. Okay, that is not the mark of the beast. Others thought it is of Barack Obama, and now that people think it is of President Trump. Others thought it was Hitler, and it is of Genghis Khan, and a whole slew of other people thought that person was agent number 666. Okay. And that people are thinking that the Visa card is the mark of the beast, or that of the RFID chip, or this or that of the Social Security number. Okay, the Social Security number that is here in America is very, very likely not the mark of the beast, because it's not worldwide. Whatever the mark is, it has to be worldwide. It has to be worldwide. And, well, the RFID chip is starting to look like it may go worldwide. We don't know what the mark of the beast is, and until we know that without it, we cannot buy or sell. That is when we know. That is the mark of the beast. That of the charge card. Is not the mark of the beast, because we can still buy and sell in cash. Buy and sell in gold. Although that is rare, but we can buy and sell in other means other than a credit card. Okay? I am not saying absolutely positive that it is the RFID chip, but it is definitely starting to look like it. I, for one, will not get the RFID chip, but that has to be your own choice. Here is one other clue, knowing if it is the mark of the beast. Will we be put to death if we do not accept the mark of the beast? Not only can we not buy and sell, but if we are caught without it, and then we refuse to receive it, we then will be put to death. Think about that, my friends. Now then, what you have then witnessed here is only a overview of who the Antichrist is and all of the other aspects that goes along with it. I am currently available to come as a guest speaker. If your congregation wants to learn more, you can make contact with me and find out what my rates are as it comes to being a guest speaker. Now, I can be a guest speaker on this, who the Antichrist is, and the other aspects of the end times, as well as coming to speak about the 10 Commandments. I also, hold on, let's see here. Oh. Okay, that of the primary topics I can speak on is I will list Daniel, Revelation, and prophecy, which includes the mark of the beast and who is the Antichrist in more detail. Okay, I have only covered about 10 clues. There is so many more clues. The second one is the 10 commandments, and are they valid for today? Islam, Mormonism, and the Catholic Church. Science in the Bible, and the Textus Receptus versus the Codex Alexandrian. Those are the main topics that I can come and do a guest, it is a lesser guest, a speaker as, so that if you or your church wants to learn more about that and also my fees for it, you can make contact with me and I will give you my rates on it. Alright? Now, for the ones that are a Catholic and is just hearing this for the first time, come out of her, please. That of the Church of Christ and other true, it is Protestant churches has got their arms wide open, ready for you to become a true Christian, okay? Please come to the Lord. Thank you for watching this here video, and I hope that you have learned something. Please do not forget to then subscribe to this channel. Please, before you leave this video, please do like, and please also click on the Show More tab. This will show hyperlinks to not only Facebook but also Twitter, and also to Pinterest, and also to the PayPal. Please do consider contributing to the Lord's ministry by either going through PayPal or else Pinterest. Two of the biggest reasons why I ask that you donate is because I go to local nursing homes and jails so that I can speak to those about Christ. Within Matthew chapter 25, we find that Jesus says that whatever you do to the least of these, you do unto me. Now, I'm going to be doing that of a separate video explaining this in a